Hey, what's up? I am Michelle B. This is Channel Notes, a channel dedicated to helping you do YouTube authentically. And in this video, I want to talk about 5 necessary things that you need to include in a video to increase the chances of its success. So these are all things that I've taken like special note of in the past year or so, and I've been trying to like incrementally get better and improve at, and it's made a huge difference in the way that my videos come across, how professional they seem. So the first thing that every successful video should include is engaging visuals. So I personally have turned into a nutter recently when it comes to B-roll on my main channel, Michelle B. This video is actually sponsored by Video Blocks, a stock video image library with over 3 million videos, After Effects and motion backgrounds. They're one of the fastest growing stock image libraries, and they're also one of the only stock video libraries that gives 100% of the commission back to the artist. All the videos that they offer are royalty free, so you won't get any copyright claims or anything like that. And you can get 7 days of Video Blocks for free by using the link in the description down below, or by going to videoblocks.com/YouTube. So videos like the ones that Video Blocks offer are awesome because they can keep your audience engaged and keep your videos just generally more interesting. So what I like to do is I like to write out my video plan or my little script, whatever, and wherever I have like an action, that's where I like to put in overlaid B-roll footage. So for example, when I'm talking about writing out a video plan, I can chuck something there, or watching the sunset, or going for a run. You can chuck in stock videos as you say those things, just to keep the video a bit more interesting and not just your beautiful talking head. So the next thing that every successful video should include is a strong promise. So when you're filming a video, you need to set your viewers up with a promise. So promise them that there's something really good to come within your video. So for example, with this video, at the start of it, I promised there would be information that you guys could use to make your videos more engaging and more successful. By putting out a strong promise at the start of your video and telling people what they are going to get from watching the video, you're increasing the chances of them watching up until the end of that video to sort of fulfill that promise and to like complete the loop, if that makes sense. Of course, you want to keep people engaged with a promise, but don't just throw out like false promises here and there. Make sure that you're actually going to deliver on the promise that you offer at the start of your video. The next thing that a successful video contains is unique, interesting content, or your own spin on old, already done content. If you make a video that has already been made a heap of times, for example, like a morning routine, basic items in your wardrobe, I'm trying to think of general videos, healthy snacks, just videos like that that do tend to get remade over and over again by different YouTubers. Regurgitating information that has already been shared is like the #1 way to ensure that your videos are not successful. So I actually try to avoid like really commonly mentioned tips in my videos. For example, in my How to Wake Up at 5 AM video, I sort of knew the content that was out there, and I was like, look, I'm not going to include any of the normal tips that could actually be good tips, but they're not things that I did. Instead, I'm going to include things that maybe are a little bit out of the norm that other people haven't mentioned in their videos. A lot of people have already watched like 5 videos on the same topic, and they come into your video in the hopes that it'll give them new information that'll, you know, be a game changer for them. So, but a good way to go is to look up the kind of video that you're thinking of creating and ask yourself questions like, how could I do this video better? What is this video missing that I think people really want to hear? Or you can even say, what is included in all of these videos that I don't necessarily agree with. So next up, you need an awesome title, a good description, and good tags. So I have a video on how to craft a description and how to craft your tags. Let's talk about your title. This is like one of the most important things in the whole world when it comes to your new video. Your title is half of the reason why people click on your video in the first place. You need to spend more time on your title. So some questions that you can ask when you're crafting your title would be, what will someone get out of watching your video? How is someone's life going to be better after they've actually finished your video? So kind of an example of a promise, my most recent video on my main channel is how to live an inspired and creative life, which is like a promise. Once they've finished the end of this video, they'll have ideas to implement that will help them to live a more inspired and creative life. An alternative title would have been just like inspirational and creative living, tips to feel inspired and creative. So both of those titles kind of offer something, but it's just not quite as enticing as how to live an inspired and creative life. And the last thing that you really need to put effort into is a good thumbnail to have a successful video. So when I first kicked off, I totally underestimated the power of a good thumbnail. Like I was just like, cool, every single thumbnail can be a picture of my face, which is actually what I do with Channel Notes, only because I try to put all my energy into Michelle B. Channel Notes is kind of my secondary channel. But when I first kicked off on Michelle B, it was just all images of my face. All of my thumbnails essentially look the same. So if you actually scroll through my old videos, I'll put an image of in front of my face, you can see the point at which I was like, ooh, I should put some more effort into my thumbnails. And actually, coincidentally or not coincidentally, it's also a time when my views increased a lot, so that's something to keep in mind. The thing about just including a picture of your face, especially if it's an oversaturated niche, is that when someone is looking at their suggested videos or they're looking in the searches, you have to beat out every other person that's put an image of their face. Does that make sense? So unless you are like the absolute prettiest of all of those people, or you're like the most interesting looking of all of those people, you're not going to stand out in any way. Like, there's no reason that someone would click on your thumbnail as opposed to someone else's thumbnail. Sometimes it's unavoidable and it doesn't hurt your channel that much to do it, but I still try to include like myself in the thumbnail, but it'll just be like doing an action that relates to the video, if that makes sense. So if you're making a video about reading books, you would have an image of you in the thumbnail, just casually reading a book. If you're making a video about clothes, you'd have a shot of yourself in front of your wardrobe. Your thumbnail and your title are like the two main reasons that someone might click on your video as opposed to someone else's video. So you really need to invest time in those two areas to make sure that your video does well. So those are my 5 things that I think are necessary for a successful video. Obviously, the main thing overall is always your content. You need to make sure that you're making awesome content. And I think by using one of my tips, which was like unique, engaging, and different content, you're going to be able to do that. But all of the other little things can matter as well. So I'd love to hear from you guys what kind of things you do to make sure that your videos do well, or what areas of your video you put more effort in to ensure that they do better on your channel. So leave a comment in the comment section down below. Subscribe to my channel for videos every week on doing YouTube. I appreciate you guys so much, and I will see you soon.